Hi, my name's Amy, and this is my November wrap-up. So I read 7 books this month, which is pretty good for me, so I'm excited. So let's get started. The first book that I read was Delirium by Lauren Oliver. If you read my book haul, you saw that it wasn't my favorite, but overall not too bad. I feel like the setting was interesting. The whole concept of taking love out of people's lives was a really interesting idea, and so I just wish that had been explored more. I don't know if that happens in the sequels, so I probably will be checking out the sequels just to see if that is the case, if we get to know more about how that happened and how it's going to change. The main character left me a little meh. She was okay, but I have been told that she develops more as the series goes on, so just another reason for me to check it out again. So I am interested to see more of Lauren Oliver's work, especially after seeing her at the conference I went to. So I will be checking out the rest of the series as well as her new book, Panic, which I got in my last book haul. The second book I read was a graphic novel, and that's Runaways, the first volume, which is Pride and Joy, by Brian K. Vaughan. This is a graphic novel set in the Marvel Universe, and it's about a group of teenagers who only meet once a year because their parents are all friends and they meet once a year, and so they bring the kids with them. And so supposedly the meeting is just a kind of reason to catch up. They all talk about, what happened over the past year. But the teenagers find out that it's actually a meeting for the parents because they are supervillains. And they discover that their parents are up to no good. So the first volume is about this discovery and about the group kind of trying to figure out how to come to terms with their parents being evil and what they're going to do in reaction to that. And it's also about them finding more about themselves and each other because there are a lot of secrets that their parents have been keeping from them. So I found it difficult to get into certain comic books like Marvel and DC, but I found this one was very accessible even as someone who doesn't read the comics very often. So I think it's a good jumping off point. Hopefully I'll be able to read more. The third book I read was Waistcoats and Weaponry by Kiera Cass. This is the third book in her Finishing School series. It's also a spin-off of her adult series, The Parasol Protectorate, which is a great series and I highly recommend it. So because this is a sequel, I'm not going to go into too much detail about this particular book because there are a lot of spoilery things at the end, and the ending was crazy. It was crazy! But instead I'll just kind of give you a summary if you're unfamiliar with the series as a whole. So the series is set in Victorian England, and the main character, Sophronia, is from a fairly well-to-do family. She's not like the tip of the top, but she's pretty good. And so she is sent away to a finishing school. And so she's expecting to learn about proper manners and how to drink tea. But it turns out it's not just a finishing school, it's a finishing school. So all the students there learn how to be assassins, spies, and other such trades. The world that's set in is also alternate to our actual historical Victorian England because there are supernatural beings within this world. There are vampires and werewolves. One of Sophronia's professors is a vampire, and another one is a werewolf. And so it's a very unique setting. Kiera Cass does a great job bringing these supernatural creatures to life in a new and unique way, and she's very humorous in her writing, and I think that just keeps me more and more interested. So if you haven't read either of these series, definitely check out The Parasol Protectorate or The Finishing School. The next thing I read was Bad Feminist by Roxane Gay, and this is a nonfiction book. I don't often read nonfiction because it's just not what I reach for first. But I've been trying to read some more, and I also have been trying to read more about feminism and people's point of view on it, and because I've just been feeling I need more of that in my life. I don't know. So this book is a series of essays written by Roxane Gay, and they cover a wide variety of topics, from the media to her own personal experiences going through school and then becoming a professor, and just how feminism affects so many different levels of society, even ways you wouldn't think that they would. So just with the way I've been seeing things in the news and nothing personally affecting me, but, you know, things in my community and the broader scope of the community. It's been really helpful to read different opinions on feminism and what that means to them, and just really finding my own definition for it as well. So the next book I read was My Fair Lady, with an E. That's by Laura Wetterston. And this is a nice, fluffy, romantic read. It's about a girl named Rowena who is planning to spend her summer working at the mall with her best friend and hanging out at the beach with her friends and her boyfriend. Unfortunately, before summer breaks out, she finds out that her boyfriend has been cheating on her. So after breaking up with him, she decides she wants to get as far away from her home as possible so she can get over this breakup and just spend some time on herself. And so she ends up applying to work at a Renaissance fair, which she has never, ever experienced before in her life. And she ends up becoming the face painter of this Renaissance fair because she is learning art and really starting to enjoy that passion. So aside from doing the face painting, she works other odd jobs around the fair and meets all these different people, from the knights to the bar wenches to the bakers and clothes makers and leather smiths and all these crazy things. And so she ends up kind of becoming infatuated with this one guy who's one of the knights, except he may not be the best guy for her. And so in addition to it being a cute little romance, it is also a very inspirational read. As someone who is really into different artistic hobbies, it was really inspiring to see someone searching for their passion and trying to figure out what they want to do, and not so much what their parents want to do. And so that was just a really fantastic read from beginning to end. I hope that Laura Wetterston is planning to write more, because I'd like to find out what choices Rowena makes and what'll happen to her after that fateful summer. The next book I read was Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Rosh. So this is a newer fantasy series. It's set in a world where there are rhythm kingdoms and season kingdoms. So summer, autumn, spring, and winter. And so in each of those kingdoms, it is always the weather that you expect in that season. So in winter, it's always cold and snowing. And the main character, Mira, is part of a small group of refugees from winter because the leader of spring has decided to overtake winter. And so it's about this group of refugees trying to fight back, free their people, and get home. And Mira, as the youngest of the group, is constantly trying to prove to their military leader, who is also the man who raised her, that she is worthy of helping the cause and that she can do good things for them. And so there is a twist in the book, but I kind of saw the twist coming. So it's not like, oh my gosh, you blew my mind. But it was still fun, and I definitely enjoyed Mira as the main character. She's very strong and stubborn, but she's also very conflicted about who she is and how she can help, and if she can help at all. And so it's very interesting. And there is a bit of a love triangle, which, as you may have already heard from me, I'm not a big fan of. But it's not so annoyingly obvious that it's like love triangle. It's more like, there are these two guys who she may end up with. Who knows? I'm not really rooting for either of the guys. They're both good, I think. So we'll see. I'm definitely looking forward to the sequels and seeing what happens to Mira as she continues to fight. And the last book I read, I started in November and technically finished in December, but I'm still counting it. And that is The One by Kiera Cass. So I read the first two books, like, as they came out, and I wasn't too impressed with them. The world building is a little weak. Could have been better. Main character is a little flat. But the covers are so dang pretty. So every time I see the covers, I'm like, yeah, I want to read that. And then I read it, and I'm like, why did I want to read this? The ending of this one seemed a bit rushed and too neatly tied up. It was just like, oh, everything's okay now. We can totally fix it. And I was like, wait, no, go back. But anyways, and again with the love triangle in this one, it was very back and forth, like, do I stay with this one or do I go to the new one? And I was just like, I don't care. So I just really wish the characters were more more, you know. They all suffered from not really being interesting. So, I mean, I'll probably still pick up the Air because the cover is pretty again. Anyways, that was everything I read for November. If you've read any of these books, let me know. Please comment down below and I'd be happy to chat with you about them. If you agree with my opinion or you have something else, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who really, really love the selection series. So just let me know. And as always, if you like my videos, please subscribe and comment, like below, and I will talk to you later. Bye!